Hello dear students, welcome to the program. Today we are going to discuss the topic the physiology and anatomy of digestive tract along with the hormones involved in it. Now before delivering the lecture, let's have a look at the objectives of today's lecture. Our first objective will be to understand the physiology of digestive system, that is digestion, absorption and assimilation. Then we'll have an overview of the anatomy of digestive tract. And lastly, we'll have some knowledge of gastrointestinal hormones. First of all, let us have an introduction about the physiology of digestive system. The digestive system is a group of organs that work together in order to convert food into energy and basic nutrients to fulfill the requirements of our body. In the process of digestion, the food passes through the alimentary canal, also called the gastrointestinal tract. The gastrointestinal tract comprises of the oral cavity, pharynx, esophagus, stomach, small intestines and large intestines. In addition to the gastrointestinal tract, there are some other accessory organs that aid the gastrointestinal tract to digest food. These accessory organs include teeth, tongue, salivary glands, liver, gallbladder and pancreas. The process of digestion, which aims at providing energy and nutrients to the body, has 6 major functions, which are ingestion, secretion, mixing and movement, digestion, absorption or assimilation and excretion. Now let us discuss these one by one. Firstly, the ingestion. The process of digestion begins with ingestion, which involves the intake of food through mouth. It includes various processes that take place in the mouth, that is, chewing and grinding with the help of teeth, which is assisted by the lubrication and chemical effects of saliva released from the salivary glands, followed by swallowing of the food into the gastrointestinal tract. The second one is secretion. It involves the discharge of various fluids which include mucus, saliva, hydrochloric acid, bile and various other digestive enzymes. The role of mucus is to act as a protective barrier and perform the lubrication of food in the gastrointestinal tract. The role of saliva is to moisten the food, and the first digestive enzyme that acts on food is salivary amylase, which is present in the saliva. It helps in the digestion of carbohydrates and is produced by salivary glands. Then hydrochloric acid. It helps in chemical digestion of food and provides the protection to the body by killing the bacteria present in our food, as the bacteria present in the food cannot survive at acidic pH. The enzymes secreted by the gastrointestinal tract act on proteins, carbohydrates and lipids and break them into smaller components. And lastly, the role of bile. The role of bile is the emulsification of large lipids into tiny globules for easy digestion. Moving on to the third function of the digestive system, that is mixing and movement. 3 main processes in the digestive system allow movement and mixing of food. These are swallowing, peristalsis and segmentation. Let's have a look at these one by one. First, swallowing. It is the process of pushing food out of the mouth through the pharynx into the esophagus using smooth and skeletal muscles in the mouth, tongue and pharynx. Second is the peristalsis. It moves partially digested food a short distance down the tract. It is a muscular wave that travels the length of gastrointestinal tract. For the food to travel from esophagus through stomach and intestines and reach the end of the gastrointestinal tract, it takes many such waves of peristalsis. Now the third one, that is segmentation. It takes place only in the small intestine, as short segments of intestine contract in the same way as hands squeezing a toothpaste tube. The role of segmentation is to increase the nutrient absorption by mixing food and increasing the contact of the food with the intestinal walls. Now the fourth function of digestive system, that is digestion. It is the process of converting large pieces of food into chemical constituents. It involves two types of processes, mechanical digestion and chemical digestion. Mechanical digestion is the physical breakdown of large food pieces into smaller pieces. Chemical digestion starts with salivary amylase in the mouth, which acts on complex carbohydrates for breaking them into simple carbohydrates. The process of chemical digestion is continued in the stomach. However, the bulk of chemical digestion occurs in the small intestine with the aid of accessory digestive organ, that is the pancreas. Now the next function of digestive system, that is absorption or assimilation. It begins in the stomach. However, most of the absorption takes place in small intestinal walls. The walls of intestines possess villi, which are folded projections of intestinal wall to maximize the surface area for absorption of food. And now the last function, that is excretion. The process of excretion involves the removal of indigestible substances or wastes from the body in a process known as defecation. Now dear students, let's come to the second objective of our lecture, that is anatomy of digestive system. The digestive system comprises of two main groups of organs. These are the alimentary canal and the accessory structures. The alimentary canal extends from the mouth to the anus, and the accessory structures include the organs which assist in the mechanical and chemical breakdown of food. These include teeth, tongue, salivary glands, liver, gallbladder and pancreas. Now let's discuss these organs one by one. First, the mouth. The process of digestion begins in the mouth. Both physical, that is mechanical, and chemical digestion occurs here. The food is chewed in until it reaches a consistency whereby it can be swallowed. The accessory structures which aid in this early stage of digestion are tongue, salivary glands, teeth and pharynx. Now the esophagus. Esophagus, also known as food pipe, travels through the neck and thorax and enters the stomach. Its role is to provide a passage to the food coming down from the pharynx to the stomach. The movement of food is controlled by peristaltic movements, which are the wave-like motions caused by contractions in the longitudinal and circular bands of muscle. It has two sphincters, one upper and one lower. The upper sphincter is skeletal and voluntary, and the lower one is smooth muscle and involuntary. The next organ is the stomach. Stomach is a J-shaped organ having two ends, the esophageal end and the duodenal end. It has four regions, cardia, fundus, body and pylorus. the role of fundus is to collect digestive gases. The role of body is to secrete hydrochloric acid and pepsinogen, and the role of pylorus is secretion of mucus, gastrin and pepsinogen. Stomach performs various functions like temporary storage of food, acid secretion and antibacterial action, preliminary digestion and controlling the rate at which the food enters the duodenum. Next is the small intestine. It is a tube which is 7 meter in length and 2.5 centimeter in diameter with a total inner surface area of 30 meters square. It is divided into 3 sections: duodenum, jejunum and ileum. The enzymes from the pancreas and liver are dumped here to help digestion. The next very important organ is the liver. It is a roughly triangular accessory organ of the digestive system located to the right of the stomach, and it is the second largest organ in the body. Its average weight in normal adult is 1.5 kg. The liver performs a vast number of functions numbering 500, which includes production of bile from the cholesterol, recycling of RBCs, glycogen storage, storage of fat-soluble vitamins, deamination of amino acids and detoxification of poisons. Now the gallbladder. It is a small pear-shaped sac present just posterior to the liver. Its function is to store and recycle excess bile from the small intestine so that it can be reused for the digestion of subsequent meals. Next is the pancreas. Pancreas has 4 sections: head, neck, body and tail. Pancreas mainly consists of exocrine glands which secrete enzymes responsible for digestion of food in small intestine. The main enzymes produced are pancreatic amylase, which acts on starch, lipase, which acts on lipids, and peptidases, which act on polypeptides. Now the large intestine. Large intestine is about 1.5 meter long tube which receives the digestive products from small intestine. After this, most of the water is absorbed, much of which was secreted by the digestive glands in the digestive tract, passing semi-solid feces into the rectum to be expelled from the body through anus. Now, dear students, after learning the physiology and anatomy of digestive system, let's move on to the third and last section of today's lecture, that is hormones of digestive system. A number of hormones have been identified in various parts of the gastrointestinal system. Most of these hormones are peptides. Let's have a look at the major ones. Number 1, gastrin. Gastrin is secreted by G cells of the antral glands of stomach and small intestine. It is a mixture of several peptides, of which a 14 amino acid peptide is the most active. It stimulates the secretion of gastric juice, which is a mixture of hydrochloric acid and proteolytic enzyme pepsin. Also, it increases histamine release, increases gastric motility, opens pyloric sphincter, relaxes ileocecal sphincter and stimulates the growth of gastric mucosa. The next hormone is secretin. Secretin is produced by S cells of the duodenum and jejunum. It is a polypeptide of 27 amino acids. Its secretion is stimulated by exposure of duodenum to the acidic chyme. Its function is to stimulate the secretion of fluid and bicarbonates in the pancreas and secretion of pepsin in the stomach. It also increases the hepatic bile production and promotes growth and maintenance of the pancreas. Moreover, it inhibits the secretion of hydrochloric acid and decreases the motility of stomach. The next hormone is motilin. It is produced in M cells of duodenum and its function is to induce contractions in the stomach and intestines. The next one is GRP, that is gastrin releasing peptide. It is present in stomach, intestines and nerves. It stimulates the secretion of gastrin, pancreatic polypeptide, motilin, neurotensin, enteroglucagon, glucagon, insulin and somatostatin. Next is gastric inhibitory polypeptide or GIP. It is produced by K cells of the duodenum and jejunum. Its function is to stimulate insulin secretion, lipogenesis and glucose uptake by skeletal muscle cells. It also inhibits gastric secretion and motility. Moving on to the next one, that is somatostatin or SMS. It is produced by endocrine and paracrine D cells in the intestine. It is a mixture of peptides and its secretion is stimulated by activation of sympathetic nervous system and acidic pH. The secretion is inhibited by activation of parasympathetic nervous system. It decreases the contraction of smooth muscles of the intestine and gallbladder and also decreases gastric emptying. So dear students, with that we come to the end of today's lecture. I hope you understood it well. Thank you.